Shay,
Olu.
when we not beefing, we're good friends.
We are really good friends.
But what I try to tell you is I admire you because I see you. You wear many hats. You really are killing the game on this social stuff. And I'm sitting here watching you move, and maybe you don't see how you move, but it's very inspirational, especially as someone who's created her own career from scratch.
I'm finna cry.
You can cry. So my first question to you is, how were you able to create a steady stream of clients to be able to live with this level of entrepreneurial freedom?
That's a very good question. Well, just know it's been very ghetto. Definitely from the jump. Kind of taking it back to 2020 pandemic time period. I got laid off from my full-time job, and I had been doing social stuff, but I wasn't really taking it as seriously as like these other six-figure bosses and all these people that were teaching classes and had all these clients. So I kind of really had to start from the bottom. And I had some of the worst and most nightmare. And I'm not saying anything bad about my clients because I love every client that has ever worked with me or given me a chance. I appreciate them. But I've definitely had some nightmares and bad experiences with some people that I work with. But I'll definitely say that I took that and just learned what to do the right way. So things like billing and making sure I get my bread and, just having just certain experiences. It just shaped the way that I just structured my business. So from 2020 until now, 2023, really taking time to shape the structure on the back end of my business. So my operations had to be very, very, very tight. And my workflow is just very tight because I want to make sure that with anybody that's working with me, they get the best experience. And if my stuff ain't good on the back end, you're not going to have a good experience. So
Talk about
definitely making sure that stuff has been good. And then just going out, a lot of my clientele comes word of mouth, connection. Shout out to B. I've gotten several clients from B, doing a social for the studio, doing social for a lot of brands. But a lot of time it comes from word of mouth, or just honestly people just finding me on social media and saying, hey, I seen that you did this. Are you taking new clients? And so definitely has been a blessing. Definitely has been a blessing. So, yeah.
I love to hear it.
Yeah.
I love to hear it. Man, okay. You actually I'm over here let me take some notes while we talking.
But I don't just do social. So, I do photography.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the other side of it. You wear all the different hats.
Mm-hmm.
And, I too do a lot of different things, but it's just, whenever there's an area where I aspire to be in, I always look at people next to me doing the same thing, at a level of success. Now, you can rub my back, but we're going to be fighting later anyway, so it is what it is.
Me and Olu fight like cats and dogs.
We fight a lot. We fight a lot.
Too much. Too much.
So, considering you do let's list them out what I've seen you do, because you probably do a lot more.
Okay.
You do photography, you do videography, you direct, you creative direct. You may not realize you're doing these things, but I'm watching you do these things. You produce, and then you be producing the hell out of some things.
Period.
So, of all these things that you do, what is it that you enjoy most about entrepreneurship? Is it something specific? Is it something more open-ended?
So I think the biggest part of entrepreneurship that I just love is working for myself. I like to make my own schedule. I don't like to be told what to do. And I know that sounds like defiance, but since I was a kid, I've never liked to be told what to do. And that's why I just struggle with it so much. And so when it's come to me working, because I've had great full-time corporate jobs that I've walked away from because I've just never liked to have somebody in control of my everyday life. It's just always been stressful for me.
Yeah.
And with me being an entrepreneur, don't get it wrong. I can go to sleep late and wake up late, but just know when I'm up, I'm hustling. I'm working super, super, super hard. So I think a lot of times people get entrepreneurship, especially people that aren't familiar with entrepreneurship, they can just take it as, she just chilling, they can take a flight and do X, Y, and Z every day. And it's no, that's not the case. I got to work super hard to make sure I have the money to go and take the trip that I really will only get to take one time out of the year if I'm not super busy. So definitely it's just the freedom of my schedule that I just really, really, really like. But the opposite side of that, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a hustler, when you're doing it full time, you have to work so hard. Because when you got a 9-to-5, your check come in every 2 weeks. Oof. But when you working for yourself, you literally only eat what you kill. And if you don't go out to kill nothing. Like, my boy.
Yeah, you gonna be hungry.
They gonna cut them lights off. It ain't gonna be a good scene, but yeah.
That's a real way to put it, man. You only eat what you kill.
Period.
You really have to have that like hunter mentality to go out and get these things. That's what I'm seeing in you, man. Like, and I know, like I said, I'm gonna be beefing with you when we cut the mics, but I'm gonna give you your flowers right now because you deserve them.
You can get my cupcakes too.
You get your cupcake. No, we ain't giving you the cupcakes.
Y'all, Olu's took my cup. That's another story.
Yeah, we're gonna keep tossing them cupcakes. See, we talking about accountability, right?
God, next
See,
topic.
this is us fighting. This is us fighting right here. So we're gonna go on from that. And you mentioned briefly earlier. You just were talking about, you know, how entrepreneur, like you got to be able to get up and hustle, and you know, you got to really be the foot up your own butt, so to speak. To get things moving and shaking. So what would along those lines, what would be the best piece of fearless advice you'd give to another creator trying to create a career from scratch, like Shay Abrams?
The number one thing is definitely like surround yourself with a community of people who get it. For me, like I'm first, other than my grandfather, like I'm the first entrepreneur in my family. Like when I told my folks I was walking away from my full-time job, like the first time I told them, I was like, I'm going to do somewhere. It's like, girl, whatever, save up 6 months of your bills, and then if you want to take a break, then go do it. The second time, like, I was so fed up with my last corporate job. I called my grandma, and I was like, I have to quit that job today. Like, I can't do it no more. And even though it took her a second to come around, she was like, you know what? You got to do what you got to do. You have to do what you got to do to make yourself happy and to be good, like, within.
Yeah.
And so luckily I had such a great community of other entrepreneurs and women who call me crying in the middle of the night because we're literally exhausted from working all night, but we know, like, boom, like, we still got to get this work. I have friends who call me crying photographers, like, you done shot all day long, literally exhausted. You just want somebody to stay on the phone with you while you're driving home to make sure you make it home, don't fall asleep behind the road. Like, that community, like, that level of, like, people who get it is so important to have, because not only will they continue to, like, put you on to opportunities. Like, a lot of my opportunities I've gotten since I've been in Atlanta from Birmingham have been from, like, my friends, like, my inner circle. But they're going to hold you accountable, my good brother. Accountability, and they're also going to just be that support that you need sometimes. Like, you just need to cry because it's been a hard month, and it's like, dang, like, what I'm supposed to do? Well, we're going to cry, we're going to get it out. But as an entrepreneur friend, I'm going to also help you plan out what you need to do for next month in order to reach your goals. So having that community is important. And then also, just honestly, keeping a relationship with God, you know, if you identify, definitely have a strong prayer life. And be intentional about the things that you speak, that you want to see. Like, if you want something to happen in your life, anything is possible. You just got to go out there and make it happen, but you have to speak positively. So that's definitely, like, my biggest pieces of advice. So, yeah. Hope I answered that well.
That's Shay for y'all people. She did it. Now we going to go fight, but I appreciate you.
Yeah. Oh, my God, my audio.